Hey everyone, it's Jeff from New York, and today we're in my second favorite city, second only to New York. We're in New Orleans, and we're going to be visiting Bourbon Street at night. Right now we're heading up Bienville. The Mississippi River is about 2-3 blocks behind us. And we're heading towards Royale Street. On the corner of Royale and Bienville is the Hotel Monteleone. Just like just about anything in this area, the Hotel Monteleone is very historic and most notably known for its carousel bar, which slowly rotates as you enjoy an adult beverage. I stayed there several years ago, and it's a top-notch hotel with quite a history. Before we make it to Bourbon and things get noisy and mayhem begins, I just want to introduce you guys to Cray Cray the crawfish. Cray Cray is hiding somewhere in all my New Orleans videos, and he's hiding mainly because he's afraid he's going to be eaten. Be the first to spot him on the video, and leave a comment below with the timestamp on where you spotted him, and you'll get a shout out on an upcoming video. Bright lights, screaming, and music. We must be getting close to Bourbon. In the evening, Bourbon Street's closed off to traffic, and even the cops are on horseback down here. Coming up on the left here is Musical Legends Park. It's a small courtyard more than a park. And inside you'll find a unique array of life-size statues of some jazz greats such as Al Hirt, Fats Domino, Pete Fountain, Louis Prima, and a couple more. They also serve beignets here, and sometimes they have live music. Usually they do. Right now they don't. We'll step into a few bars and check out the music. Music on Bourbon runs the gamut, including rock, blues, funk, jazz, rhythm and blues. Some of the bands are great, others perhaps not. Some of the best bands and music in New Orleans, and particularly the French Quarter, is on Frenchmen Street, which is a little-known street on the other side of the quarter. Visited mostly by locals, it's one of the best-kept secrets down here and some of the best music. Frenchman Street will be featured in upcoming videos. So for what it's worth, here's my take on Bourbon Street. It's not my favorite place to visit in the quarter. The food is not so good. The drinks are watered down, sugary syrup concoctions that, well, will quite frankly get you sick if you have more than one. The music, well, there's better places all around the quarter for really good music. And the crowds, for the most part, are rowdy and drunk. Speaking of rowdy and drunk, near the end of this video, I'll show you what Bourbon Street looks like the morning after. Bourbon's kind of like that proverbial train wreck. You want to look away, but you just can't. Most, not all, but most bars on Bourbon Street have no cover charge, so you're free to come and go as you wish. If you see or hear something you like, you hang out for a while. If not, you move on. Nudity is pretty commonplace on Bourbon Street. Men and women will do anything to have a pair of beads thrown at them from the balcony. If you hear "throw me something," just look up and look down and you'll see what I'm talking about. If you're offended by nudity or lewd behavior, well, quite frankly, you have no business being on Bourbon Street, especially at night. What's funny about the religious fanatics is they're like a magnet for lewd behavior. Just look for these guys with their signs and their mega horns. They'll be surrounded by some of the wildest lewd behavior you could possibly imagine, as if just to prove a point. Hey, it's 3 a.m. in New Orleans. Do you know where your children are? If you look above, you'll see the entire length of Bourbon Street is lined with hotels. These hotels tout themselves as being in the heart of all the action on Bourbon Street. Well, you might not want this 24/7 outside your window. Your best bet when visiting the city is to stay off of Bourbon Street in one of the more luxurious, quiet hotels. And here we are coming upon two of New Orleans' finest. These guys and gals are extremely tolerant of odd and unusual behavior. The guys and gals in blue pretty much have a philosophy of, as long as you're not hurting yourself or anyone around you, pretty much anything will go. They'll also make sure that you stay safe on Bourbon Street, and if you so request, they'll make sure that you get home safely as well. By the way, many of the buildings in the French Quarter have historic landmark status and were built in the early 1700s, particularly the 1720s. Modifications to the exterior of these buildings go way beyond local ordinances and require approval from God. Apparently, God is okay with neon. New Orleans is a city of music, from everything from sophisticated jazz down to these kids playing home improvement buckets everywhere along Bourbon Street. These kids work hard all day long, whether it's in the middle of the afternoon with all the heat and humidity down here in New Orleans, or 2 o'clock in the morning with all the crazy people around them. It always makes people feel good by dropping a buck or two in their bucket as they walk by, knowing comfortably that it's going to help them or their families and not fuel some kind of bad habit. And we're coming up on some more mounted police. I had mentioned before how tolerant the police are down here, and I failed to mention how tolerant these horses are as well. But they seem to enjoy the attention and like being petted. For the most part, the bars down here are open 24/7, and if you haven't noticed yet, alcohol is allowed to be consumed outside on the streets everywhere in the city. The only rules are it can't be in a glass container or a can, it must be in plastic. Another thing to note is most of these bars will not let you into their establishment with the drink in your hand. You must either finish your drink or purchase one inside. And I don't think that's a law, I just think that's more or less house rules down here. And here we are coming up to a police eye in the sky. There are several of these on Bourbon Street. They're not here during the daytime, only in the evenings. The cop up top simply keeps an eye on the crowd below, and if he or she sees anything funny going on, they simply radio to the cops on horseback at street level. And as we go further along Bourbon Street, it gets a little bit more quieter. The establishments are just a little bit further apart, but the music is just as good, and it's certainly not as dark as my camera is making it out to be. Totally safe. At this point in the video, I'm thinking it's somewhere around 1 a.m. We're heading back in the direction we came from, just in case we missed any craziness. But as you can see, the crowds are actually getting larger and the music's getting louder as we go on. And it'll probably continue to do so until about 3 a.m. Coming up to the left of the camera, you're going to see some women working really hard for those beads and flashing the people on the balcony. I think I've done a pretty good job keeping this video PG-13. It definitely could have been rated R, or perhaps even stronger if I didn't do some heavy editing. Perhaps sometime in the future, a New York pay-per-view channel. Like I said earlier, this is all in good fun, and we're all adults here, hopefully, on Bourbon Street at this time of the night. And as they say down here, laissez le bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll. Those bright lights ahead, which have been wreaking havoc with my camera all evening, are actually run by generators, and they're located at every intersection on Bourbon Street. Since New Orleans is susceptible to tropical storms and blackouts, could you imagine a power outage and the mayhem that would pursue on the street and definitely inside the buildings should there not be emergency lighting? As I mentioned earlier, these buildings are about 300 years old, and if you look at those balconies, packed with people every night, but they're packed with dancing people. These buildings are made out of wood and brick. I guess their biggest enemy is fire. Over the past 300 years, these balconies have been through storms and hurricanes, and it's just amazing how they remain so strong. Today's buildings and skyscrapers are designed with demolition in mind. They're designed to be torn apart after 50 years easily, so that something new can be built there. The people who built these buildings and designed them, they would find that inconceivable. These buildings were built to last. Well, you can party all night, as most of us know, but you'll have to deal with the morning after. And as I said at the beginning of this video, I'm going to show a few clips of what Bourbon Street looks like after a typical night of partying. Actually, the New Orleans Sanitation Department does a really great job cleaning up every morning. You have to wake up pretty early or stay up very late to see it looking like this. But by 8 a.m. the streets are swept and then washed down and the trash is picked up, and Bourbon Street is ready for the daytime crowd, which will be another video entirely, so stay tuned. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like, comment, and subscribe by clicking on the button on the left. On the right, you can click on my playlist of narrated photo videos or my playlist of walking 4K videos. Thanks again, and I'll see you around the city.